what I came here to do today is to talk about personal wealth. And I don't believe our economy at a macro level, Zamara, PSK, and anyone else would be here if it wasn't a question of individuals. Now, I've had I spent a lot of time with HR, people in the HR profession, right? And not to put them on the spot, but you would know if you're an HR person or an HR head, you would know the sort of wellness. You'd have some sort of a ballpark assessment of how your staff are doing. The biggest reason for your staff not to be doing well is finances. Medical, yes, because you must sort that out. But finances, for any person, if your finances are okay, you're okay. If they're not, you're not. Right? So I will go through the basics, and it's very broad based. For this session, it's the first session, it's going to be very broad based. And we're going to use something called the WISE model. So the WISE model basically means that the W stands for wealth, right? The I stands for investment, the S stands for savings, and the E stands for earnings. So the W is where you want to end up. Wealth. I've never met any Kenyan who does not aspire to be wealthy. If you have, let me know. If you go to speak to Mama Boga, which I have a lot, through our product One for Hiring, we look at how we can sort of bring financial literacy to the people who have been left behind. And they will tell you, my ambition is to have that house over there, a 4-bedroom house, and drive that big car. My financial plan has 7 pillars, right? But I won't get into them because it's quite personal. But the premise of all of this is have a short-term financial goal. I want to buy a car in 10 months. Have a medium-term financial goal. I want to buy a house in 6 years. And have a long-term financial goal. I want to retire with X amount. That will get me an annuity amount of X amount, which will make sure I live comfortably. The longer the time you have to your long-term financial goal, the more risk you can take. If you're 32, 31, if you're 40, and you plan your long-term plan comes up to the age of 60, you can take more risk. If you're 50 and your long-term plan is at 60, take less risk. The younger you are, the more risk you need to take. There are very many opportunities for people who are young and have disposable income to take a bit more risk and to ensure that they get the most out of their investments. The shorter your financial goals, you need to align your investments in such a way that your investments are more liquid. Everybody has heard of a money market fund, right? A money market fund is a short-term investment vehicle. Everything in a money market fund matures in 1 year or less. It's treasury bills, cash deposits, things like that. That's why they can pay you 3 days. So have an emergency fund, have a short-term plan, have a medium-term plan, and have a long-term plan. And always keep pivoting between those plans. I've already mentioned this, time, if used correctly, is your best friend. Because compound interest comes with time, right? Hence the rule of 72. Take any interest rate divided by 72, you double your cash or your wealth within that time. Yeah, I think you guys have heard this. Guys, there are 2 types of people in this room. Well, let's say 3. One is fantastic. Leroy is telling me everything I've already done. Well done. Good stuff. There's someone who's going to be, I have a bit of work to do, but I'm generally fine. And there's a person right now who's panicking. There's a person who's panicking. Well, Charles Schwab says the best place to start is where you are and what you have. The best time was yesterday. The next best time is now. January and February is our heaviest circle on time. You explain that to me. What do you think is happening in December? Your employer has told you, I know you have a bad habit, so I'm going to give you a whole other check to take of that bad habit. But somehow, you end up being in a worse place than if you had paid that one check. Why? Your money increases. All of a sudden, you can't eat at that kibanda anymore. So it's not happening. Right? So guys, the solution to financial independence is not more money. I mean, it's great to have. But the solution to financial independence is not more money. It is budgeting and living within your means. If you don't take anything away from what I said today, take that. Please. Building a possible portfolio is basically building assets that will ensure that you live what you plan or you live what you dream. Short term, medium term, long term. There's no other thing to it. The basics of it is short term, medium term, long term. How much time do you have? Right? What is your plan? And how much risk can you take? Because there are people who don't like risk. I'm a risky guy. I take risks a lot. But I'm also young. I can afford to do it. Right? You cannot be 67 years old unless you're quite rich and you're taking risk. It doesn't work. It might work out as an outlier, but it won't work out on a normal curve. It just won't work out. So how much time do you have? How old are you? Right? And what is your plan? These three things morphed together, and your risk appetite morphed together will get you to the promised land. So, what are these vehicles that we would get into? So, as a classic, this is the money market, the investments market. They are fully cognizant that there are people here who this means nothing to them. I am a very bad entrepreneur. I've tried it, I've failed. I'm gonna keep trying because I'm young and I guess there's only so much I can fail. But this is for me. This is my forte, and I've also lost a lot of money, but still, at least right now where I am, I've gained a little bit more than I've lost. But that's because I'm also quite risky. I'm a risky guy. But from the top coming down, equities, shares, stocks. That should be your long-term plan. Very risky, very volatile. But if you pick the right stocks, no matter how the market goes, you will make more money than all these other guys over time. Over a long period of time. Getting to the bonds market, it depends on the tenure of the bond. You have 20 plus year bonds, you have 15 year bonds, you have 5 year bonds, you have 3 year bonds. So, the shorter the term of the bond, the more short term it should be in your plan. So a 20-year infrastructure bond should feature in your long-term plan. Right? Remember diversification. As you do all these things, you need to diversify. Don't put your long-term plan all in equities. It needs to be a percentage. Let's say, for mine right now it's about 70% equities because I am a risky guy, but the rest also has to be bonds. A 15-year bond is a long-term bond, a 10-year bond is a medium-term bond, a 2-year bond, a 1-year government paper is shorter. So the tenure of the bond will let you know where to put it. Remember, you're building a portfolio. So your portfolio will have layers of things where you need to always be cognizant of money markets, always short term. Put your money in money markets for 10 years, all your wealth in the money market for 10 years without touching it, you're doing yourself for the service. You can make much more money out of that. Money markets or assets that are liquid should be there to fund your emergencies, your short-term goals, and things. I mean, holiday. It's okay to go on holiday. Save for your holiday. Don't save it in a bank for crying out loud. Save it in something that gives you interest. Unless something is very wrong somewhere, if you ever find more than 30K in my bank, something is wrong. I like having some cash there just in case. But for me, my cutoff is 30,000. If 30,000 sits in my, if more than 30K sits in my account for more than 10 days, I move it. I don't need to have it there. Because in a bank account, it's not doing anything for me. In a money market fund, it's getting me some interest. Alright? So, yeah. Please have a money market fund, bare minimum. Please do. They're great. And then you will build into these other asset classes. Property is long term. Property is long term. The property market now, if you want to get into property, if you can get into what are they called? This, what are they called? No, not rates. Rates would still be long term with short term coupons. If you get into, I don't know what they're called. This low cost living. Low cost living has much more margins than high cost living.
Affordable housing.
Affordable housing, those things. Someone who has small shacks of 5,000 bob is making more cash, a lot of them. If you have those ones, they have much more margin than someone who has a house for 49,000. Trust me on that one. Right? The margin is humongous. A 5,000 shilling shack would cost 1,000. Or the running cost would be 1,000 per month. They'll be charging 5K per month. They're getting 4K. What's that? That's almost 80-90%, right? These other ones, you would get something, if it goes 4K, you're charging 5K 500, as an example. So the margins are bigger. So if you can get low-cost housing or affordable housing at scale, you will be making much more money than someone with a housing loan. Trust me on that one. Do the research. You'll have my number. We'll speak. Alright? If you get a house and you build it, or you buy a house, whichever way it is, the rent that house is giving you, if in 7 to 10 years you have not recouped it, that is a bad investment. So if your house goes whatever it is, whatever rent you give, that's how you get rent. Don't just guess. That's how people get rent. And then agents come in and try to get you to move here or there. But the most time it should take for you to recoup money put into a house is 10 years. So if you're renting out a house for 50K, that's what? That's what? 600,000, 6 million. And that house is 7.2 million, don't buy it. If you're buying to rent, don't buy a 8 million shilling house to rent at 50K. I mean, you could, it's not bad, but as a level of a good investment, that comes low. So, but then again, the property market right now is quite wild. I believe we have a bubble that's about to burst for last year. Because if you go to Kileleshwa here, you will find houses that no one is occupying. Right? But yeah, property for me, long term, because valuations are what they are. But the rental income is not also that much. I don't think rental income is that much. It's 5% right now, even in rates. It's 5%, 6%, 7% you're doing great in rates. But the valuation, the hope is that the valuation of the property keeps on rising, and eventually you will make more money than you put in. So property, long term. Rates for me, long term. Cash, very short term, liquid. So whatever has a short period, 90-day T-bills, 65-day T-bills, those short, near cash to cash deposits, that should be for short term. And it should have cash. Cash is king, yes, if you want to do a couple of things. But if you have a good short term plan that is next to liquid, you will probably make a lot more money if you're careful with the investments. This, I think, is everyone knows. It's a risk for us. As you're building your wealth, there are certain risks to it. You can build your wealth and have your empire crumble in one fell swoop, right? And that's where you have insurance, right? Insurance is important. Guys, never go to an insurance company and you can tell them I said this, I'm not afraid because I do the pricing for them. And invest. Insurance is for protection due to loss. All these education plans, if you have one, sorry, that was a bad choice. Or you go and they're telling you it's you have insurance linked with investments. You've had those products, right? I don't know. Investments is for investments, insurance is for protection against risk. I'll give you an example. If you know how insurance companies work, you will know this, that an insurance company and a bank, what is the difference between an insurance company and a bank? What's the difference? Fair enough. That's from a service perspective. If I'm the CEO of a bank and I'm the CEO of an insurance company, my strategy is wildly different. Because remember, if I'm a CEO of this company, of any company, I need to ensure that money comes in, I invest, I do whatever, run my costs, and get money. There's no difference between a bank and insurance company. They just collect money different. Because they will take that money, invest it. Remember, whatever money you put in an insurance company, it is part of their balance sheet. Yes. So, if I am running an insurance company, I can employ agents, and I tell them, if you bring me 10,000 from this guy, your commission is 4,000. I can give them 40% of what you bring, and still I'm above water. Unless you're in discipline, which most of us are. If you're in discipline, save through insurance company, because they will say you can't access this money for 10 years. But if you're disciplined, the insurance company is only investing 60% of what you give them. 40% is spent in distribution, 60% they're spending that, they're making money out of it, and then they're giving you a sum assured. So, and I think Alan will share with you a calculator that you can share with guys. If you take 10,000, save it yourself in a money market against my better advice for 10 years, you will make much more money than giving Old Mutual or whoever it is 10,000 shillings per month for you to get a payout in 10 years. And they won't pay you in 10 years. They'll tell you they'll pay you a big amount in 10 years, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what they tell you. Insurance is for protection against the risk of loss, not for investment. Yeah? Don't worry, guys. As I said, this, I have an education plan myself. Don't worry. You know that. Before I discovered all this, I took one. And I was quite young. So, yeah. But I'm towards the end of it, but I regret it every day. There's nothing I regret more than paying that 10,000 shillings every month. But we are where we are. The biggest thing you need from insurance is health. Yes. Health issues, one, the older you get, the more you get them. But health issues, a hospital bill is the biggest potential enemy to your health. And guys, and I learned the hard way, and I'll tell you how I learned the hard way. I'm covered, so are you, right? But if your mother, sister, wife, girlfriend today dies, who will pay for that? You, right? Yeah, so very close to home. But my girlfriend died very recently. My fiance died very recently, right? And I always said, we were going to wait until we get married and things like that, and then she would be my M+1, M+2, all those things. She died very recently, right? A lot of my money and her parents' money and what went into that, right? And she was sick for a long time. Why wait? Is my question. We all think we have time until we don't, right? So, health insurance, cover yourself, cover your loved ones. If you have someone who, when they die, you will have to do everything you can to ensure, or when they are sick, you have to do everything you can to ensure they survive, cover them. Or find a way to get them covered. Don't wait. Right? It's quite painful to lose someone and then have to pay for it. It's quite painful. So, health insurance, I'd say. There are very many other types of insurance. And maybe I'm biased, but health insurance, please, take care of that, if you can. After you're gone, you want to leave a legacy. And leaving a legacy means that when you're gone, who's going to take care of your children? Who's going to take care of your wife? No one really asks who's going to take care of your husband. I don't hear that a lot, and it's quite funny. Our pensions business requires for you to have an NOB, nominations of beneficiaries, right? You've all filled it. It's very interesting, and we have the data, right? So we see, like 85% of the pensions business is in Zamara. So if you, from a data collective, from a data collection standpoint, you can almost see how people behave, right? There is no one I've seen today who has a wife and the wife is not on that form. But I can't tell you how many people I've seen a lady that does not have the husband on that form. Does not. Mother, sister, child. Most of the time. Yeah. And then a lot of guys come back and is this NOB private so that you add a second wife. It's comical sometimes. It's very comical. Right? But all in all, whatever you do, ensure that you leave something. This is in the Bible, I think. If you read the Bible, I think it says that an astute man must leave an inheritance for his children and his children's children, right? So, and it's very easy, guys. It's not as hard as people think. Having a trust or a trust fund is not for the rich. Everyone thinks it is, it's not. Right? So, leaving a legacy means basically estate planning. Estate planning can be in two ways. It can be either a will or through a trust. Most of us have heard of wills, right? Again, I will share this so you will look at it in more detail. But the chief difference between a will and a trust is that a will has probate, and I will explain what probate is, and a trust avoids probate. So a will can be challenged in court. I think you all know this. You've heard of all the cases that have been there because of a will. A trust is solid, it cannot be challenged in court. And once you start making money, guys, try to put as much as you can in a trust. We'll get to that once if we expand this conversation at some point, we'll get to that. Try to put as much of your money, your property in a trust. Ladies would not like, there's this footballer, what was his name? I don't remember his name. Yeah, the guy who put everything in his mother's name and in a trust. Right? Because the trust owns the property. You might own the trust. Right? And trust me, he did not give his mother all his wealth. He put the wealth in a trust. Right? Him and his mother were the trustee, but his mother was the managing trustee. So the trust owns your assets. You don't own anything. You have a claim to a trust. And a trust is separate from a legal estate. So a legal estate is everything you own. That's why in your pensions, if you have a pensions, and you come and steal from PSK, whoever is handling your pensions has to pay you or your beneficiary. They can't touch that money because any money in a trust is separate from your legal estate. Which is why the court couldn't touch that guy. They know he's a billionaire and he has all these things. But where? Where is it? Show me what is in my name. It is in X trust. X trust, I'm just a beneficiary of that trust and my mother runs the trust. What can I give you? Nothing. Right? So as you start making money, guys, there are some of these things that you can do to protect yourself and to protect your kids. Right? And a trust is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. So basically the two types of trust is there is a living trust. Today you can go to anywhere. Zamara also offers this. Start saving 10K a month and you can form a trust. You can save it for 50 years if you want. And you can put whatever clauses that you want to put. That my child can only have this when they are 30. Or if my child marries someone from this tribe, don't give it to him, give it to Yeah, this has happened before, right? And this country is very funny. This has happened before where someone said the only condition for my child getting this is if they reach 30 and they haven't married a Kikuyu, which was very bad. I don't like it. But most of our parents were like that. Right? I don't want to see the law. I don't want to see the Kamba, and I think we should stop that. And I think maybe that's where we are going. But what I'm trying to say is, if you set up a trust, you set up the rules. And the trust must be. The trustees, make sure the trustees are corporate entities, not individuals. Individuals also have a tendency of misusing what we call a fiduciary duty. And fiduciary duty is acting in the best interest of whoever is the beneficiary of the trust. Yeah. So you form a trust. You say what you want the trust to do. If it's for your children's school fees, the trust can only pay out the children's school fees. Nothing else can happen. A will can be challenged. So you will have noted in what I'm saying, a trust is superior to a will, in short. Yeah, so that probably process it's a long process. Sometimes it takes years and it becomes ugly and courts and things like that. But for me, my recommendation, always have a trust over a will. That brings me to the end of my presentation, which took a little bit longer than 1 hour.